and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video update here with me in the beautiful Alps. Today I wish to talk about something really important, and yet it's so primal, it's so organic, it's so beautiful. And it's the process of really surrendering into our ascension. So recently I got about a few comments talking about, the art of surrender. And there were some people sharing their feedback with me about what does it really mean to live from the authentic space of ascension? And they were actually thanking me for sharing in such a way that really invites people to go within themselves and discover their inner uniqueness and magic, because there's a lot of focus in the New Age about certain things we're supposed to do and how to be, how to act, how to behave in order to be spiritual, in order to ascend. And that gives a lot of people this sense of weight and expectation and self-demanding approach, which is not really a compassionate approach. So someone told me that they had this ego perception of ascension and all that they need to achieve and heal and become. And basically, the thing with ascension is that the more we strive for life, the more we kind of feel we have to struggle with things, even ascension, the less, we really are in this space. It's like the more it's elusive, it's like avoiding us. We're avoiding it. So a lot of the times when we're a spiritual seeker in the beginning of our journey, we feel like there's something we need to seek. And as I've shared with you before, this is beautiful because that seeking kind of is linking us to the sacred spaces that are invitation for us to visit parts of us that maybe we haven't been able to fully see before. And we're now in this beautiful time of the full moon, and it's also a Wesak festival, which is the festival of light. It's about the Buddha and the Buddha achieving enlightenment under the full moon in Taurus, when the sun was in Taurus. So also we're having Earth Day today. I'm recording this video on Earth Day, so it's a very auspicious energy. And what I feel is that with the previous new moons and full moons, all these lunations that began from this year, actually this astrological year basically just began. But it really feels like this current lunation, as in terms of from my perspective, from where I am in my personal journey and development, felt so freeing. It really felt like reaching this point of blossoming and maturation into ourselves. But the whole reason being for that is the surrender. So the art of surrender into our personal organic ascension. The thing is, there's nothing we need to do. There's nothing specific, like a certain method or a certain color. People mention, certain colors you need to wear, certain techniques you need to do, and whatnot. And there's just still so much division in the New Age in terms of, the heart and the mind, first of all. First thing coming to mind. The more deeper we go into our self-mastery, everything just is our life force. We don't even think of ourselves anymore as beings of the mind, beings of the heart. It's just all parts of us begin to so deeply merge and unify that, our ascension will be not just something that we approach as a spiritual seeker, but it will become a constant devotion in the way we practically apply it in our daily lives. So I want to share with you this beautiful experience I had yesterday, because it's kind of like an introduction to this topic today. And I want to give you also some of the insight, because this is the Buddhic lunation, and I want to talk about some of the insights that Spirit shared with me today about the Ascended Masters and our personal mastery on this planet. But first I want to share this beautiful story with you, which took place yesterday, because I was guided before the moon culminated in the sign of Scorpio, which is about depth and intimacy and surrender in the underworld, and just really stripping ourselves bare naked of all that we're not. And when we come to this journey, we're going to find out the most precious gem we have ever discovered. And it's like the essence when our crystalline soul vibration can start to really descend, because we kind of created this groundwork. We've created the template. So yesterday I was really guided to hike to our waterfalls here. They're really beautiful, magical places there, and there's this space that in terms of energy, really reminds me of the Rivendell from Lord of the Rings, if you've seen the movie, and it's just beautiful. So I was guided, and the waterfalls called me, and as I came to my point, I met this older man. I saw this man, I passed him by, then he passed me by, and I wasn't kind of guided to say something to him, but I'm learning that I'm becoming so attuned to the people's characters, where they're in energy. I just look at their face, just walk past them, and I intuitively connect to their energy, and I felt this was a very beautiful, peaceful person. But at that point, I wasn't guided to say anything to the person. I just went my own way, and as we approached the waterfall, the person went to climb it, because there's this climbing route with the wires when you can go to the waterfall, and it's spring. And I was guided to go to the next location, which is further away from the waterfall when you can see it from afar, and I wanted to do a video because I'm compiling these videos for my retreat, kind of like introduction. And the thing is, I was looking at him, and he began waving his hands and doing these energy exercises, and I was like, it's really true. I feel that he's more aware or something. I just felt something. So we both returned from the waterfall from our own perspective simultaneously, and I said something to them. I said, "Oh, did you do energy exercise?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he still was very peaceful, and in terms of approach. And I didn't want to poke him. So I just, usually how I intuitively talk to people, it was very organic. Just some of the main questions that kind of opened the perspective of the conversation to take place. And we started talking, and it was such a beautiful experience. It's like two beings meeting up. And there's suddenly this opening between their hearts. And he was my mother's age, but it was a really beautiful person. And it was one of those people when you can just connect on so many levels, It was just like the deeper we went into conversations, the more we saw we like the same things, how we hike, which landscapes, what we like most. And then all of a sudden we come down to this point, and I say, should we hike that mountain gorge? Should we do some climbing and, jumping over the water? He's like, yeah, totally, because he had also experiences with climbing. And so it was beautiful. It was just two beings meeting randomly, different age group, different background, different living spaces, because he's from the seaside region. But we met for that short moment, for those few hours. And the thing is that it was just an invitation from the heart. And then we started hiking that mountain gorge, which is, there's no routes there. You're just jumping through the water and the cliffs, and it's very adventurous. And if I couldn't go through, he was passing me his hand, and and I had this feeling of really feeling at home with someone you don't even know. And it was really beautiful because the person was just so open and peaceful. And I was thinking that it's us who are getting to the point of attracting these situations because we're so at peace with ourselves, and our ascension is becoming an organic process, and we don't have those bipolar, judgment filters anymore. What's spiritual, what's not. I'm not going to talk to people, not going to talk to this, And it's just going with intuition. It's just going with the basic feeling of our mastery. So this really led me to having the most beautiful day, because I wanted to have one day just for myself. I was very much hyper with all that I was doing and all the activities and everything. And I felt I need to unplug and have a day just for myself. And many times when I say that, something else would happen. And I'm not just by myself. But it felt like being with myself because it was the kind of recreation and kind of activity that I really love. And it was this almost like engaging with the art of trusting. Someone you don't know gives you their hand, and you have to trust them when you're kind of jumping through this, turbulent waters. And it was really amazing. And after coming down, we said goodbyes, exchanged our emails, said if you're ever going to stay here again, because it was just a beautiful meeting. And I pondered a lot about that towards the end, because a lot of our conversations were about mastery. And you can't usually talk about random people you just meet about these things, but it was like one thing leading to another, one questioning and one sharing leading the gateway to another one. And this is what we're doing now with our ascension. One thing leads us to another, and more opening and more opening. So our entire communication flow showed, this dynamics that a lot of us are now entering in terms of, like I said, illumined partnership. It's not just with your spouse or with your best friend or someone you really know for years. Like me and my mother, we had such a harmonious energy exchange. It's like we know each other since forever. We kind of almost read each other's minds already, but because we've invested so much time and devotion in our relationship, and we've been together for so many years, and it's almost like organic. But it can also come into being with people we don't even know, because we don't have to really know them mentally, logically, to feel them. We feel these people, and we know how far we can go and how we can talk when we are intuitive, when we're organic beings. And so as I reflected on that, a lot of the conversation we had with this person was about mastery and being so organic, because we agreed on those things that a lot of the New Age and the spiritual circles are still very judgmental, and they tell you this is what you need to do, and it's very much based on the mental teachings. When someone almost lectures you or gives you these insights what you're supposed to be doing, when in truth the art of physical ascension is something that our soul needs to show us. And there's people like me, many others who've come here to light the way. That doesn't mean we're doing it for others, but we're lighting the way so it could be easier for those who are doing it the first time, who are sometimes having these doubtful moments and experiences, and they can get these confirmations, so it's easier for them. Because to light the way means that, when we're walking together through this gateway of ascension as a group, walking through it on a personal level, but also as a group consciousness, we're all beaming that light to each other. So yesterday we had a lot of these topics about how mastery is simple. To be a master of the self means nothing in terms of how much knowledge you have. And he told me this story about this old man he met when he was 16 years old, and he already had this old man who gave him a lot of this wisdom. And he said he was just like this a shoemaker or something, I don't know. And he's like, I said, was he a master, right, in terms of energy? And he said, yeah, he felt like it. And I said, of course, because to be a master is not associated with your profession and how much knowledge you have. It's just that innate connection with your primordial wisdom and your source connection, and sharing it in such a humble way with people who kind of cross your path. Either it's just a few beings, or either it's like publicly like this because that's your purpose, whatever it is. And for those of us who really feel called as ascension pioneers to kind of deepen our service, this means that we gotta really create that space where these boundaries of what is spiritual, what is not, what our communication is supposed to look like. We should really tear those walls down, because the more we do that, the more synchronicity, the more magic, the more flow there will be. So in true nature, our ascension needs to come from our master, our inner master. And recently someone asked me about some of the things, and they said, I ask you questions because it's easier for people like us who don't always have people like this around to talk to people like you, or other people who share this knowledge in their own way. And that's the nature of it, that we feel like we're doing it in our own unique way, but yet we're doing it together. So that's the only principle there is about something being universal, not generalizing it like these are the things we need to do to ascend. We gotta embrace ascension as a unique, organic path for us, because some things, yes, they are universal truth. This is, you got to choose ascension. That means if it's going to be physical ascension, you will have to create a pure temple. Your body will have to go through certain dissolution and through certain spiritual initiations. But how you go through them, it won't be about techniques. It won't be about your timelines. It won't be about you through that spiritual ego telling yourselves what all you need to do and fix and heal. It's just going to be a natural, organic process. And a lot of the humans have forgotten how to trust this, how simple it is, how simple life can be. And the more you engage in your personal self-mastery, it will be so simple. You won't be able to believe at first that it can be that simple, and yet it will be. So it's almost like putting everything you've ever learned into conscious practice by not even thinking now you're doing that. It's just coming. It's like, wow, I'm doing this. I haven't been doing it before, but now I do, and it's instinctive. Like I instinctively knew, I felt called to talk to that man, and it came out as something really beautiful, and it was to benefit for both of us. So our ascension is personal. It's a personal, unique process, and yet it's a collective experience as well. And how we're sharing this, how each of one is going through that with our own unique gifts, it's very important. So our own unique attributes and resources and graces that we're receiving from our divine self, we're then utilizing for greater service. And today, Spirit said to me, when I was running, I had my daily run, and I had this epiphany that in truth, what's that final, because people would really kind of sometimes will want to know, what's that final threshold that you crossed, that you really feel you're ascended in a way, you're ascended in your mastery, you've embraced your mastery. And Spirit always gives me the same answer. It's the art of service. And this means that everything you will ever know and have, it won't just be for you. It's the art of sharing. And when I say divine service, this does not mean you provide a service like cutting someone's hair or, doing something for someone, The art of divine service is when you're so humble in your mastery that, it's yours, and yet the art of cosmic service is knowing that you're not here just for your personal experience, and now you're ready to expand into this greater experience. That it's also about other fellow human beings, and you can never leave that part aside, because a while ago, a dear friend told me, he said, you have achieved everything almost in your physical body, so what else is there but for you to enjoy the human experience? And I said, yeah, that's one aspect. But the other aspect is that I will always be of service, because my being, my soul, is a servant soul. In creation, we have different beings who come out of, and like we're spurring. We're kind of like when we're seeding ourselves into the worlds of creation. So we each kind of take our stage roles. And at that prime level, when we entered this game of duality, there were beings who said, I'm going to play the role of the dark. And some beings said, we're going to play the role of the light. And yet this was always a beautiful cosmic dance. But the thing is, we're just now, when we're mastering ourselves, seeing that's basically all from one. It's all just how it started to propel our evolution through that game, and basically worlds of separation. We wanted this. This was created. This was a choice. And that's why when we see things that we describe them as evil or bad or negative, or certain things you're not supposed to do and we're judging them, the more masterful we are, we don't see it as separate from our mastery, because a lot of these things did help us to gain that mastery. Just yesterday, we watched a movie called Joy, and it was about that inventor who had such a hardship, in her life before she developed this magic mops or whatever, and certain other designs that later got her very famous and established. But she had a very hard life, and everything was depending on her. She had a very hard, difficult family and very challenging conditions, but those conditions were contributing to her mastery in what she was to create. I mean, it was, I don't know everything, but it was how it was the story in the movie. So the thing is, a lot of beings who are servant souls, they'll create more challenging situations and experiences in their lives so they can transcend them faster, so they can use that as a gift to also serve others when others are walking through those thresholds and difficulties and challenges. Because in the end, you will feel so blissed out and beautiful and blossoming that everything will feel easy for you, but you will remember that you were once also there. As an ascension pioneer, you never forget that. No matter how blissful you feel, no matter how loving you are in your abundant lifestyle, you will never forget where you actually emerged from. Your lowest point. Remember that, your darkest night of the soul. And this will always guide you to be so humble, to provide that richness of that cosmic service in your own unique way. So for me, one aspect is enjoying life through my mastery, but the other aspect is to share that. So it's also a service, it's an offering, so that we kind of are a tool for those divine hands. What they wish to create and what they wish to achieve and bring further on is extensions of Source. So that nothing is selfish. It's not just self-oriented. It has to be self-reflected, because that's how we do it. We cannot become masters of the self without a conscious self-reflection and observation and application of that awareness. But it also, in a way, it has to be practical. It has to be, how do I live this? So a lot of the beings now, and I'm seeing this around everywhere, beings who are really walking this path, they no longer wish to hear those fancy words and all that is so conceptual. They really want to go down to the depth of the simplicity of the ascended experience, because a lot of us, it feels we've already walked through that threshold when it was the most challenging and when it was the most difficult, but there's groups who are also following those footsteps, because in truth of no time, we're walking into that together. So the other insight I got was that there's always been many cosmic masters. I've shared this with you before from my own soul, that I also need to become a master of earth, and I'm always in this becoming. So these cosmic masters were souls who are very luminary. They have lots of light, but it's very challenging on this planet on Earth to master yourself on the level of what the Earth School provides. So there's a lot of cosmic masters who continue to come here as they want to further their mastery. So remember when I always tell you that you don't just become a master, stay a master, die as a master, and that's it. Even when you're serving others, you're still learning. You're applying your mastery, but you're always expanding in it at the same time. So the art of service will expand you the most. There's nothing that expands us more than being an offering of spirit ourselves. There's so many ways how we can expand, but when we come to the level, we have to be at a certain level of soul maturity to know how to serve, to even want it. So it doesn't feel like, you know, we're doing it for others. We're not doing it for others. It's a service to others or to all life in creation orientation, which does not feel like you're just giving. It feels like you are life. So therefore, wherever you are, you provide the nourishing conditions for life. And this means that the experience needs to be blended in with your environment, with your sacred spaces, with the people around you. So it's always going to be coming through the live streams of, you know, it's going to kind of adjust to the frequency of it all. But in the end, our own frequency won't feel like it can be diminished or corrupted or not pure anymore because of something that sometimes we got to go deeper into the worlds of density for us to do that service. Because I told you that the true master of descension, not just ascension, comes. Like a cosmic master says, you know, I will continue my mastery. I will go to Earth. This is where it really begins. This is where the school of life truly gets interesting. So this is how I was shown this today through spirit. And we can all be snarky and egoic and say, I have it all figured out. You know, I'm so vast in my beingness, so I don't need anything or anyone to tell me anything. But the moment you accept every single aspect of life and every person as your teacher, it doesn't mean they're going to teach you things you know as yourself, but they will show you aspects of you. That's how they're also teaching you, because we are at our prime light. We are one being. So as much as there is diversity, there's also unity. It's correspondent. And the more we accept that, every single part of us comes back to us, reflected through every person, through every engaging into communication, conscious relationship. It's coming back to us for us to meet that aspect and say, I love you. Wow, I am that. I am this. And experience self, I am. It's just this pure consciousness. It's all about the I am. But for me to experience myself as consciousness, then I also am all these things and all these people and places and situations. Wow. And on Earth, this is how the cosmic mastery goes even deeper. So it's not that we will lose the aspect of our illumination, because personally myself as well, I come from a different frequency than it's here on Earth, and a huge part of my life I never really fully wanted to mingle into that. I was like, you know, a bit taking it back, because I wanted to remain my purity, and until the point I discovered nothing can take away my purity. I am here, and the moment I embraced it, my mastery started going down as the roots. So see the mandala that we created on this beautiful Earth Day. At the end of the video, it's a short snippet I show you, because it's as above, so below principle. It's really having to do with grounding ourselves, grounding our mastery, creating that refinement to the very root, so we can actually be of assistance, be of service, be of conscious sharing. That means honoring the self first, so you can honor all others, because if you won't do that inner work to honor yourself, you won't be able to give that gift to others. So how will you serve? So the first part of our cosmic service had to deal with embracing the fullness of our earthliness, the reality that is here and now, before we can engage with it in completely unconditional sense and a matter of conscious practice. So yesterday the man said to me, you know, one thing is to speak about energy and all the methods. The other one is like, ooh, you know, touching you. Do I feel this energy? Do you feel the energy? And we were watching these beautiful beings, you know, that are formed from these mountain rocks. There's like pillars of creation and the guardians of the waterfalls. You can clearly see them. Not everyone will see that, because their focus is not there yet. So you can talk about, I don't know what kind of concepts, but if you're not so fully fused with all this life through simplicity, you won't fully exist in that realm. So the thing is, something about this yesterday I really loved through, you know, that came through was exactly about this, you know, that it's only as much as we can do in our classrooms and how many books you read, but it's about the things that we learn from life, that life teaches us, that we embrace through our source. And this is where our true ascension journey begins. And as I started embracing all these aspects of me and all these, for example, different people, I started feeling fulfillment. So I no longer felt alone, because we all do need companions. And to be just a hermit without the opposition of being also in partnerships, it will always feed just one aspect of us. And even our service won't be that good. And we think, well, I gotta be a service, so I cannot have relationships, I cannot have this, because I'm only gonna be of service. So it's only a vertical experience. Our service is expanding through our humility, through our humanness, through embracing all of life also in what we do. So all these things we do physically or with the people, they're expanding our service, not contracting it. That's the whole point. So as I say, nothing is not of our cosmic self, of our cosmic beloved. Nothing is not of our master. The cosmic mastery and the master itself, they need to fuse. They need to merge as one archetype. So if you're kind of finding yourself on this path of doubting, not knowing, considering which timeline to follow, some people are saying this, on the other hand, people are saying that, find the space of fusion. You know, don't see all these realities as conflicting. They're not even conflicting. They're just different aspects of all. And when we are truly in our mastery, we will know, we will feel that every single thing is just like a layer, you know, like layer cake. All these layers are enmeshed together. At the same time, they're separate, but they're also enmeshed in one cake. So this is what we are. This is our cosmic cake. This is our ascension experience. And it's really beautiful, and it's really divine. And there is no aspect that wouldn't be from us, from Source. So this is what I wanted to share with you today on this beautiful day. There will be soon a shift in weather coming here, so I'm enjoying this last but not least sunny day on the beach. And this is where I send you my heartfelt greetings from. And as always, so much love, wisdom, and power. You know I love you all so very much. If you have any questions, I really like to apply these in my videos. So do write. You know where to find my contact. It's on every page shared. And also check out my offerings as light activations, courses, all of that. So thank you for watching, and stay in